Good morning, Ashish. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. So, shall we start our session?
Yes, sir.
So, last session we discussing about the history about the Django, sir. History of Django we discussing, and framework. What is the framework we discussing? What are the advantages about the Django we discussing? And what is program? What is software like this? General terms we discussing. Okay. Now, futures about the Django we will discussing. Futures about the Django we will discussing. Okay. Once the futures completing, then installation about the Django and architecture of the Django. Like this, one by one, we will go it, sir. Concepts wise. Okay. So now Django providing so many features. Django is providing so many features. So many features providing. First one is we can say Django is a fast framework. We can say Django is a fast framework. So by using the Django framework, if you are developing the application within the less time, we are going to developing the project within the less time. Okay, that's why we can say Django is a fast framework while developing the applications. Clear this one? So I mean this kind of features providing by other frameworks also, but Django also providing compared to other frameworks. Django is providing more faster. Okay. So next, Django is the open source framework.
Open sources.
Django is open source framework, guys. Open source and freeware you can take open source and free framework. So open source and free means freely you can download and you can install and you can developing your applications. No need of taking the licensed version from any company. Can you understand? So freely from the internet we can download and later using that one we can developing our application. So this is we are calling open source and free framework. Okay. Next, Django we can say scalable framework. Django is a scalable framework, guys. So scalable framework means by using the Django framework, we can developing the all kind of applications like low level, medium level, high level of applications. Okay. So low level means, for example, you are developing one application using the Django. That application can use by maximum 100 people, sir. Okay. So 10 to 100 people are using, less people are using. That is the low level application. Medium level means your application is using by 10,000 people regularly. For each day, averagely 10,000 people are using. For example, our Durga Soft online site is there, institute site. So regularly 5,000 to 10,000 people are interacted with the online team and inquiry. They will do inquiring about the courses, students. Okay. So this kind of things, medium level applications we are calling, and high level applications also we can developing. For example, like a Facebook or Gmail or YouTube. These all applications, lakhs of people are using every day. Okay. So using the Django framework, we can developing the any kind of applications like low level to high level, low level, medium level, high level. So this kind of feature supporting by Django. That's why we are calling the scalable framework. Okay. So Java also doing that one, .NET also doing that one, Django also doing that one. So this is a one benefit like this we are saying. Okay. So next, versatile framework. Versatile framework. Django is a versatile framework. Versatile means different kind of domain based applications we can developing as different kind of domain based applications we can developing. So for example, banking related applications you can developing, bank related online internet bankings we are developing for SBI, ICICI, HDFC. Okay. These all are banking related applications, and networking related applications you can develop using the Python related Django framework, and gaming side you can develop in gaming science, gaming technologies related. Okay. Hospital related, e-commerce related, like this different kind of applications we can develop in using the Django. So this is we are calling versatile framework. This is we are calling versatile framework. Okay. Next, so Django is we can say as a portable application, portable framework. Django is a portable framework. Django is a portable framework. So portable means cross platform, guys. Portable means cross platform. So here we have one Windows system, we have one Linux system, we have one Mac OS. Okay, so different OS are there, guys. Windows system is there. Here Django application, Django app developer, and here Linux system is there, guys. For example, okay, so Linux system is there, Linux, and Java app developer. Okay, now here another application developing. So Mac OS is there, Mac OS. So here .NET application, .NET app developing. Got it? So three different platforms: Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and three different applications: Django, Java, .NET. So Django is a portable framework, I'm telling. So using the Django, one application you are developing here, guys. This application can execute on Windows system, can execute on Linux system, can execute on Mac OS. Anywhere you can use same application, and this application can interact with Java application, can interact with a .NET application also. Understand this one? So using the Django framework, if you are developing the one application using one Windows, using one OS, that application without doing any changes in any other OSs, you can execute, or in it is going to be communicated with any other application also without doing any modifications. So this is you are calling portable framework. Nothing but irrespective of platform, irrespective of language, we can developing the applications. Okay, so using the Django, if you are developing the one application that is executing on any OS, any Windows operating system, I mean any operating system, simply that can be executed on any operating system, and that can be communicated with any other language related applications also. So that is we are calling portable. Okay, so this is also called as interoperability. This feature we are also called as interoperability. Clear, guys? So simply interoperability means, so I have our application, guys. Here we have application. Okay, so this application can execute on Windows, can execute on Linux, can execute on Mac system. Different OS are there. Windows system is there, and a Mac system is there, and a Linux system is there, guys. Okay, so any platform we can use our application. In any platform we can use our application. That is nothing but cross platform. So we are developing using the Django one application. That application you can execute on any OS related systems, and this application can communicate with Java related, .NET related, PHP related, like this, a number of applications that is going to be interacted. So this feature technically we are calling interoperability. Interoperability is nothing but, so irrespective of platform and irrespective of languages, if you are developing any application, that is we are calling interoperability of application, interoperable application. Got it? So Django also supporting this one. So next, so more secure. So use packages are providing. Django is providing huge number of packages. Okay, so when we are installing the Django framework, then a number of predefined packages, predefined modules also we are getting as along with the Django framework, we are getting a number of predefined modules. Okay, every module or every package is having some particular concept related coding. Okay, so when we are installing the Django, then so much code we are getting by default. Nothing but almost 70 to 80% code you are getting. When you are going to developing 100% project, out of 100%, almost 70% code at the time of installing the Django only you are getting. So you are responsible to maintaining remaining 30% only. You are going to maintaining remaining 30% only. Okay, that's why this is also one of the benefit of using the Django. More packages are coming, so based on your requirement you can use particular package. For example, if you want to communicating with the database, one package is there. If you want developing the presentation, one package is there. If you want to write the business logic, one package is there. Okay, like a number of packages are there. Depending on situation we can use a particular package. That is also one benefit by Django, guys. Okay, this is also one feature. And another one more secure, you can say this is a more secure framework. Django is a more secure framework. So how can you say it is a more secure? Means at the time of installing the Django, we are getting the 70% of 70% or 80% of the code, predefined code. So this 70% or 80% predefined code already pre-compiled. Pre-compiled means coding syntax is correct or not, everything is checked. Okay, and pre-secured. This is a predefined code. 70% code predefined is available at the time of installing. We are getting as this 70% code already pre-secured and pre-compiled. So pre-compiled means automatically performance is increasing. Whenever we are going to execute our program, the 70% is already pre-compiled and pre-checked. Coding syntax is correct or not, no need of checking. Okay, so and pre-secured means the 70% code by using some security mechanisms coming. For example, CSRF1 token is there. CSRF token, cross-site request forgery. CSRF stands for cross-site request forgery. Forgery means so illegal activities, guys. Okay, so whenever we are sending the request from one site to another site, cross-site we are calling. Okay, so whenever our request is reaching from one application to another application, our request may be going to forgery, nothing but hacking, guys. Okay, so to controlling these hacking related techniques, so CSRF token is provided by Django by default. Whenever we are sending the request, for every request, this CSRF token is also going. Okay, Django is unable to submit our data. Okay, so CSRF token, for example, like this alphanumeric characters you are going to get, guys, for security purpose. Okay, for every request this CSRF token is going to be changing. This is providing a security for a hacking purpose without getting the hacking. Okay, so that's why we can say Django is a free secured. So a lot of middleware token, secret key, and CSRF token, like whenever we are going to discuss the programmatically, then you will get about these all things. Okay, so 70% code is coming. These all 70% code is comes with some security. That's why Django is a more secure framework, we can say, for developing the applications. And next, Django is supporting so many major databases, guys. Django is supporting so many major databases. So all DBs supporting, we can say. So all DBs means, for example, MySQL. For example, MySQL is 1 DB, guys. And next, Oracle is 1 DB. And next, MongoDB. Like a number of DBs are there. Okay, MySQL, Oracle, MongoDB, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, like a number of things. Using the Django framework, if you want to developing any application, your application can able to communicate with these all major databases, whatever you want for your development. Okay, so Django is providing that facility to interact with particular database. Ready-made settings are there. Coming session you are going to get. So just you are writing one code only, Django code. So initially you want to communicate with MySQL, you can do it communication. After 2 months, you are going to change to Oracle. Then just settings only you are changing. Coding you are not changing. Program business code you are not changing. Database settings only. Instead of MySQL, Oracle name you are going to give. Then obviously you are going to get the communication. Okay. So like Django is supporting so many databases for our application development. Okay, using the Django, if you are trying to developing application, then any database whatever you want you can use. But these all are major databases, separate third-party databases are. That's why you need to download and you need to install any one database. So we are going to discuss our sessions MySQL and MongoDB related. Python side developers using the MySQL and MongoDB. Nowadays, when you are attending the interviews, so about the MongoDB, people are asking so many times. Okay, I'll take care of these two things. So next, these all are third-party DBs means we are downloading and we are installing. Later, using our Django application, we are communicating. Okay, so Django by default, supporting one database, guys. By default, supporting one DB name as SQLite 3. SQLite 3. Okay, SQLite 3. This is one database by default supporting by Django. So by default supporting means no need of downloading like these databases. Separately, no need of downloading and no need of writing the settings for communicating with this database inside our Django application, guys. Okay, so if you want to use these databases separately, you are downloading, and then this particular database related settings we are writing inside the settings.py file in our application development. Okay, but this default DB no need of downloading, by default coming along with Django, and also settings no need of writing. Okay, so freely we can use this one. That is one of the benefit by Django, guys. Okay, next Django by default comes with admin site. By default comes with admin site, guys. Admin site. So whenever we are developing our applications, every application required admin site, guys. Every application is required admin site presentation. So for example, here we have our application, guys. For example, this is my database. This is my DB. You want to interact with this DB, guys. You want to interact with this DB. Then we are developing one application. Okay. So this is you can consider like a browser. Guys. So using the browser, users interacting with the database. How interacting means in middle our application is there, guys. In middle our app is there. So from the browser, whenever we are sending the request, that request reaching to our application interacted with the database. Okay. So from the browser, if you want to communicating with the database of your application, then a presentation we are going to developing here. Presentation. Okay. So our create related, update related, login related, register related, like this, some presentation we are going to write developing. Okay. Then using the application we are going to be communicating. So later some peoples are there, guys. Admin people we are calling means your company related top people, owner kind of people. Okay, so those people interacting with this database purpose, Django is by default providing one more application which name as admin application. Okay, so normal users, the people who are using our application, normal users interacted with this application, they will interact with the database. Okay, admin people interacted with admin site, guys. Admin people interacted with admin site. Okay, admin site interacted with the database. Clear this one? And whatever the data is there here, this entire data also getting back and displaying in the table format, GUI format, sir. Totally presentation format, all the tables, employee table, student table, okay, with the edit button, delete button, update button, table format, you are going to get everything without writing ourselves. Okay, that's why admin people of your company, admins of your company interacted with this admin side. Here all the cooperation presentation is there, create, update, delete, all the things. So they will performing whatever they want. That operation is going to happening in this database. Okay, so when you are developing any application, admin application must be need to develop in. But using the Django framework, if you are going to developing your application, then by default comes with admin site, admin application. Then admin people interacted with admin side, they will handling the database data. Clear this one? If you are a Java developer or any other developer, so those developers manually they are going to developing this admin applications. Okay, but if you are a Django developer, no need of developing manually. By default, you are going to get this one. Okay, so this is one best advantage of Django, guys. Next, so by default comes with one authentication application, guys. Auth app by default comes with one authentication related application. For example, at the time of doing registration, login, logout, forgot password, these all things related. You need to developing the coding, presentation, backend, database logics, everything you need to write, guys. Without writing those all logics by ourselves. Okay, Django by default providing one application. This application is providing login related, logout related, forgot password related. Okay, like these all things ready-madely provided by this application. So in this application, login page, register page, logout page, all are available. Okay, so change password related, these all things are whatever you want you can use and you can developing your own application. Okay, so for fast development purpose we can reuse existing application, and the people who are interacting with our application, nothing but those people need to do registration. So those all registration data is going to maintain in one table. This application is providing one table. Authentication application is providing one table. In that table, all users of our application we are going to be maintaining, guys. Clear this one? So this is also one benefit. By default comes with one authentication application, auth application. Next, for example, you are going to do registration, guys. At the time of doing registration, your registration is not created successfully. Your registration not created successfully. Then we are going to get the message, guys. We are getting the message. What message? So please register with valid data, or else your registration is not successfully done. These messages you are getting. If you are registered successfully, yes, your registration done successfully. Now you are able to log in. Like messages we are going to give. Okay, so user friendly messages at the time of doing login, please enter a valid username password like this. Okay, so user friendly messages displaying purpose, Django is providing one application which name as messages application, guys. Predefined application is one. Okay, so when we are installing the Django framework, then along with the Django framework you are getting these all things: admin application, authentication application, messages application. Okay, not only these things, guys, n number of benefits you are going to get. Okay, so because of these all benefits, finally we are getting what these all features. Because of these all features, finally we are getting okay, so saving the time, saving time to developing the application, and saving cost, to developing the application, and giving the best performance, best giving the best performance of applications, guys. Okay, so yeah, performance of applications increasing. Simply I'm going to write increasing. So these three features are supporting us using the Django. So by using the Django framework, we can developing the applications within the less time with less cost by providing best performance. Always all company people are looking for these three factors only: saving time, saving cost, giving best result. Okay, so you are saving time means nothing but you are writing the you are going to write the less lines of code. Because of the Django, you are writing the less lines of code compared to other frameworks. Okay, other language related frameworks. So because of saving the lines, or else because of writing the less lines, automatically time saving. If time saving means cost saving. If lines less lines you are writing means readability is increasing, complexity is decreasing. Okay, like a lot of benefits are there. That's why Django framework is getting nowadays more demanding. The Django framework is getting nowadays more demanding. Clear, Ashish, so far?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, so enough, sir. This basics knowledge enough. yesterday also we discussing who developing means Adrian and Simon Wilson. Where developing means in so company, Lawrence Journal, World Newspaper Organization, and why they take a name as Django only means one famous guitarist person is there. Based on that person name, they taken. The person name is Django Reinhardt. Okay, when released to public in 2005, when they started in 2003, when they started own organization in 2008, like a lot of benefits are there, guys. I mean, history we discussed. Okay, so now we will discuss about the installation of the Django, guys. So far, all basic theory we completed. So I'll take your mail, sir, and I'll forward whatever the documentation we are discussing so far. Everything clear documentation you are going to get up. Okay, and as soon as possible when you are doing registration, then you will get a video access also. Everything regularly what we are discussing in these sessions, videos you are getting, and projects you are getting, and the material you are going to get, guys. Okay, yeah. Installation of Django. Installation of Django we will discuss. Okay, so if you want to install the Django, first of all, what are the prerequisites? What are the prerequisites? Means Python software is required, guys. First Python software is required. So from the www.python.org, from this site you are going to downloading this Python. Okay, from this site you are downloading this Python, guys. So after downloading Python, you are double clicking that one, and by following the next like some guidelines, you are going to install. This is a software you are downloading and you are installing as a software. Okay, now Django, if you want to install Python software is required. I'm telling why Python software is required means the Django framework is developing purely by using the Python software. That is one reason. And also whenever we are installing the Python software, along with the Python software, one pip command is coming as one pip command is coming. Okay, so this pip command is required. This pip command is required to install the Django. This pip command is must be required. It must be required to install what, guys? To install the Django framework. Okay, so that is the reason, guys. Why Python software requirements? Whenever we are installing the Python software, along with the Python software, one pip command is coming. That pip command is required to installing the Django framework. Got it? Yeah. Now, sir, one Python concept we will discuss 5 minutes. Can say in the Python modules concept are there, guys. Modules concept is there. Python. In Python, every .py file we can say as a module. In Python, every .py file we can call as a module. Example.py, sample.py, demo.py. These all are nothing but modules only. Okay. So in Python, totally 3 types of modules are there, guys. How many are there? 3 types of modules are there. In Python, we have 3 types of modules are there. 3 types of modules are there. 3 types of modules available. Then what are those available, guys? What are those modules? What are the available modules? 3 types are there. What is the first type? Any idea? So predefined module, guys. Okay, so predefined modules. Predefined modules also called as user defined modules, also called as user defined modules. Okay, sorry. Predefined modules also called as built-in modules. Built-in modules. Built-in modules. So next, second one is user defined modules. User defined modules. This is second one. And the third one is very important, guys. Third one is third party modules. Okay, like 3 types of modules we have, guys. Predefined modules means what modules we are calling? What modules we are calling predefined? Means the modules which are developing, the modules which are coming, the modules which are coming along with Python software at the time of installing the Python. Okay, at the time of installing the Python, the modules which are coming along with the Python software, then those modules we are calling built-in modules or else predefined modules. Okay, so along with Python software coming as the modules which are coming along with Python software. The modules which are coming along with the Python software are called predefined modules. Are called predefined modules. Clear, guys? Definition. So what are the examples of predefined modules? Predefined modules examples are. Tell me some names. So for example, OS module is there. OS module. Okay. Next, sys module is there. Path module is there. Okay. REG module is there. Math module is there. Datetime module is there. Okay. Calendar module is there. Like a number of modules. These all modules are coming along with the Python software whenever you are installing. Okay. So inside your Python software, in the one folder, you have these all modules, guys. Okay. So next, user defined modules. User defined modules means, so as a developer, you are going to developing coding as for solving your requirement. Okay, for getting your requirement related solutions, you are going to developing the some programs. Okay, so our requirements we are calling task, user requirements. For every requirement, we are developing this some code, user defined code. Those code we are writing inside Python files. So those Python files we are calling the user defined modules. In Python, every .py file we are calling the module. Okay, so as a developer, you are going to create your own modules. So those modules we are calling the user defined modules. Okay, so the modules which are developed, the modules which are developed by developers, the modules which are developed by developers for specific requirement, for specific requirement, for specific requirement solution purpose, or else for specific requirement we are developing some modules, guys, simply. Okay, the modules which are developed by developers for specific requirement purpose, for specific requirement purpose, then those modules we are calling user defined modules. For examples of user defined modules, examples so demo.py, okay, so sum.py, then subtraction.py, total.py, we are writing, sir. At the time of learning Python, like this, a number of programs we done practiced. So all things nothing but user defined modules. For example, in the sum.py, okay, in the sum.py, what you are going to do? You are going to do some addition of some numbers. For example, a equal to 10 is there. Okay, b equal to 20 is there. For example, c equal to a plus b. Okay, a plus b. Next, print c, is there. Nothing but, so your requirement is what? You need to take two variables data and add those two variables and assign into one variable and print that result. Okay, this is your requirement to calculate two inputs, to calculate the two inputs and finally finding the sum of two inputs. Okay, so this is sum.py, subtraction.py, multiplication.py, total.py. Whenever I'm giving two numbers, I want to find the total. Whenever I'm giving 10 numbers, I want to find all the total. Okay, like this. For solving a particular requirement, for achieving particular requirement, we are writing our own code. So those things nothing but .py files we are writing, Python files. Our user defined Python files we are calling user defined modules. Clear this one? Yeah. So when you are going to developing these user defined modules, you can use those predefined modules. You can use these predefined modules whenever you want. For example, math module is there, guys. Okay. So if you want to use that math module inside this sum.py by using a import keyword, import math module, you are importing import or from math so and so, like this you are importing. So import keyword from keyword you are using, and you can import predefined modules we are importing inside our user defined module, and whatever you want you can develop, okay, using that predefined module. Now last one is very important. Third one is what? Third party modules. Okay, so third party modules means these modules not coming along with the Python software, and as a developer you are not creating. As a developer you are not creating. As a developer, if you are creating, that is user defined module, and at the time of installing Python if coming, then a predefined module. But this is a third party module, means along with the Python software is not coming, and as a developer you are not writing, okay, for your requirement solution purpose. So some third party people, other people, guys, so some other people developing some modules, and they are maintaining in the web location, they are maintaining in the internet location, okay, and those modules we can download and we can install, and using those modules we can developing our user defined module. Okay, to developing this user defined module, if you want you can use a predefined module, and also if you want you can get this third party module. Okay, when you are going to developing the real time applications, n number of third modules, third party modules we are using, guys. Okay, all third party modules are available, all third party modules are available in the web location, all third party modules are available in the web location. Now you can see, so here predefined modules are there, guys. In this place predefined modules are there. This is a Python software assumption. Here my user defined module is there, user defined module. Okay, so if I want to get this predefined module, then by using import keyword I can import later math dot like this I can use this math module in this my user defined code. Okay, now third party module I'm telling, third party module. So third party modules available in the web location. This is nothing but a internet location, guys. So here in this internet n number of third party modules are there, guys. So many are there. While developing our Django programs, I'll take care of a lot of modules. So n number of modules are there. Okay, so I want to get this particular module, guys. I want to get this particular module, I want to get this particular module, and using this module I want to developing my user defined code. Okay, how you are going to get means, first of all you are going to download this third party module. Whenever we are downloading the third party module, coming and storing into this user defined modules where available in that location. Okay, wherever wherever predefined modules are there, wherever predefined modules are there in the Python location, in that location all these third party modules downloading and storing. After getting that module, for example, we have one third party module, just assumption, guys, demo is a one third party module assumption. Now I'm downloading that one. After downloading, the demo module is available here in the Python software. Later if I want to use this demo module, I can import by using the import keyword. I can import by using the import keyword. Now using this demo module I can write my own logics here. Okay, so to developing the user defined module related code, we can use predefined modules, we can use third party modules. Okay, so third party modules available in the internet location. How you are getting from this internet location means by using one command which name as pip command. Open the command prompt and then you are going to use pip install demo. Okay, I think but simply query I'm giving, guys. So required module name, this is the command. Pip install fixed name, pip install followed by required module name you are giving, guys. So pip command responsibility is what means, pip command is going to web location, guys. pip command is going to web location, searching for this module, this module is available or not in this web location. After searching, finding that module, after finding, downloading that module and installing that module, everything is done by pip command. Okay, open the command from pip install followed by required module name you are using. So pip command is going to web location with this required module name, that is available or not checking. If finding module, downloading and installing, after installing, that is available in the predefined module location. Later you can import inside your user defined module file, and you can use that module for your application development. Ashish, clear this one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So real time, n number of third party modules we are using as for databases, Oracle, MySQL, MongoDB, like n number of databases. If you want to communicate in, for each database, one third party module is there. We need to download and installing. Then you can communicating with that particular module. So this is the procedure. That's why Python modules concept is very, very important. In the module concept, import keyword, from keyword, star imports, like a number of variations are there. Renaming the modules, alias names by using the as keyword. The all things you need to learn, guys. And when we are going to developing our program, I'll take care how we are using import, how we are using a from keyword. These all things I'll take care while developing the programs, guys. Okay. Yeah. So finally, I used third-party modules by using the pip command, downloading and development purpose. Okay. So yeah. So third-party modules means the modules, which are not coming with Python software or which are not developed by developer as a developer. Those modules we are calling third-party modules. Okay. The modules which are developed by some other people and maintain in the web location, guys. Maintain in the web locations. The modules which are developed by some other people and maintained in the web locations are called as third party modules, Clear this one? The modules which are developed by some other people and maintained in the web locations are called as third party modules. So if you want to get the third party modules, if you want get this third party modules, if you want to get this third party modules, then by using what, guys? By using pip command. By using the pip command, we can download and maintain. After downloading, you need to maintain in where you are maintaining. So we need to download and maintain in Python software location, along with predefined modules, Clear this point? If you want to get this third party module, then by using the pip command, you are going to downloading by using the pip command, you are going to downloading. After downloading, it is maintained in the Python software location along with the predefined modules. Later, if you want to use that predefined module or else use a third party modules, if you want to use that predefined module or third party module, then by using the import keyword, we can import into our user defined module. We can develop. Okay. So to develop the user defined modules, then we can use maybe we can use all these predefined we can use a predefined or third party modules in our user defined files, guys. User defined files in our user defined files. Okay, this is the point. To developing the user defined modules, then we can use all these predefined or third party modules in our user defined files, and we can developing our application more beautifully. Using the predefined modules or using the user defined modules, we can developing our applications more effectively, guys. Okay, so when you are going to developing the real time applications, real kind of programs, then third party modules we are going to use 100%, guys. N number of third party modules are there. Depending on requirement, we are going to use. Okay, so Django, here we are going to discuss about what? Django. I want to be installing the Django, guys. I want to be installing the Django. So if you want to installing the Django, Django is also a one third party module. Django is also a one third party module. That's why we need to install the third party module by using the pip command. Clear this one?
Yes.
Open the command prompt. Command name is pip install Django. You are going to use, guys. Pip install Django. So pip command is doing what, means? So taking this name Django module, going to internet location, searching for this module, finding the latest version, and downloading that latest version, guys. Okay, so if you want to use any some older versions, existing versions, not latest versions, already available previous versions, if you want to use, then you need to use the double equal to version number, you are going to give, guys. No space is there here, no space is there. Okay, so pip install Django double equal to so and so version, you can use. Then pip command is going to web location, searching for Django module with this required version only, and finding this required version, downloading that version. Clear this one? So then particular versions you are getting, as using the double equal to operator. So later if you want to upgrading, then again with required version you can give. If you want to degrading with required version, you can give. So nowadays the Python 1.9, 1.11, 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 3.0, like a number of versions are there. Whatever you want, you can use. Clear this one? So one point, remember, always in the real time development, in the real time organization, latest versions people are not using, as why not using the latest version, means, so maybe some dependencies are there, so people are keep changing latest versions, the latest versions, and also our Django must be interacted with the database, must be interacted with the Python, must be interacted with another third party modules, like this. Okay, so when you are using the Django latest module, that latest module may be communicating with maybe supporting with the latest Python or else old Python, we don't know. Okay, I'm using Django module latest one, I'm using Python some old version, guys. So my old version of Python may be supporting or may not be supporting with this new version of Django. That's why getting some problems. Understand this one? So different databases we are using, guys. So Django latest version not supporting by Oracle, for example. Okay, Django old versions are supported by Oracle, but you are trying to use Django latest version. So Oracle company people not developing the code to supporting with Django latest version also, then we are getting the problems. That's why some standard versions we are going to use. Some standard versions we are going to use that to development purpose. Okay, so I will tell what versions we are using these all things. So right now pip install Django, so and so version you are going to use, guys. So here I'm going to use 2.2. I'm going to use the version. So I'm going to use the version number 2.0.5, sir. Initial days. Okay, so this is the most stabilized version. Later we can upgrade with a new version. If you want, you can degrade with old version. Okay, that is I'll take care. Wait some time. So initially you can install this 2.0.5 version, guys. 205 version. Then easily will get the solutions. I mean, without getting any errors, successfully will get the executions of our projects. Okay, so at the time of installing this command, people are opening the command prompt and they are trying to type this one. After entering this command, they are click the enter button for executing purpose. Some people are getting errors, guys, immediately. Okay, pip is not recognized as an internal or external command. Pip is not recognized as an internal or external command, or else Python is not recognized as an internal or external command. Like this, two kind of errors you may get. Not all people, sir, only some people. So when you are getting those kind of errors, means your pip location and your Python interpreter location, people are not adding successfully. Okay, environment variables not provided successfully, guys. So command prompt I'm opening. See here, this is my command prompt. C drive. What is that? C drive user ThinkPad. This is my username, guys. In your system, maybe your name is there. Okay. So now I'm going to type here Python. Whenever I'm clicking this Python, whenever I'm typing the Python, after click this enter button, then so Python environment variables, if you are adding successfully Python environment variables, then you are going to get immediately here like this Python prompt you are getting as Python area, Python interactive mode prompt you are getting. Okay. If not added your Python environment variables properly, then immediately Python is not recognized as an internal or external command. Like this, one error you are going to get. Okay. So in my system, I added successfully. That's why I got it triple greater than Python 3.7 I'm using as. Okay. So you got it this one. Some people are not getting this kind of output. They are getting the error Python not recognized as an internal or external command. Okay. Then what you need to do means you need to provide this Python environment variables, Python software related environment variables you need to provide. Nothing but Python is executing by using the Python interpreter. Am I right? Starting Python time you are getting, guys. By using the Python interpreter, our Python programs are going to be executed. So Python interpreter is available in so and so location in your Python software installation. Okay. So up to that interpreter location, you need to give environment variables. Okay. If Python is available, then you are getting like this way. Python available, you are getting like this way. Okay. So if you want to come back from the command prompt to from this Python prompt to command prompt, I want to come back, guys. Then Control Z enter, Control Z enter, then command prompt opening. Okay. So now here you are going to type pip install Django with version 2.05. Okay. Like this command you are going to use, guys. So here pip is not recognized as an internal or external command. Like one error getting some people, not all people. Okay, means your pip path also you are not providing. Always in the environment variables, Python path is required and this pip command path also required, guys. Then successfully you can execute these all commands using the command prompt. Clear response? Okay, if already added a pip command means then automatically downloading and installing, guys. So whenever you are going to use the pip command, internet must be required in your system. Pip command interacting with web locations. Interacting with web location means internet is required, guys. Internet is required. Okay. So here single equal to only I given. That's why error you are getting. Double equal to is required. Double equal to. So then it is downloading and installing. Already I have 2.0.5. Then for me requirement already satisfied with so and so version you are getting. Okay. If not available already means so collecting from the Google I mean internet, collecting from the internet, downloading from the internet, and installing into local system. Everything process going, collecting, downloading, installing like this. Some process going guys like this. Clear so far?
Yes,
Ashish?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, any doubt? Okay. So now, so see guys, these environment variables how we are providing. I'll show you today's session. Okay. So
Okay,
go to your Python location, guys. Go to your Python location. Actually, Python software is available in where? Python software
Windows
is
8.
available in C drive, users, ThinkPad, my username. So inside that, app data is there. By default, this folder is a hidden data, guys. Hidden folder, hidden folder. If you want to see this folder, then click on this view. Click on this view. Yeah. After clicking this view, guys. After clicking this view, then here one checkbox is there. Hidden items. Hidden items. You need to select this one. By default, not checked. So you need to select that one. Then this is enabled. Otherwise, by default, disabled. This one, hidden format folder. So our hidden folder is encrypted. Okay, enabled. Now inside this app data, you have local. Inside this local, we have programs. We have programs. Inside this programs, we have Python. Inside the Python 3.7 is there. Okay. So inside this, we have here Python. This is there, guys. So this is our Python interpreter location. This is our Python interpreter location. Interpreter, main Python software. Okay, and pip is available where? Pip available in the script folder. In this script folder, pip is available, guys. This is our pip. These two locations we need to go. This is one location. This is one location. Okay, script location, and up to here Python location. These are two things we need to add inside the environment variables. Okay, how we are going to add means right click on your computer, guys. Right click on your computer, click on properties, and click on advanced systems, and click on environment variables, and here select the path and click on editor. Okay, or else new, whatever you want you can go. So you can see here. Yeah, guys. So this is our script folder, nothing but pip command related. This is belongs to pip command. In this location, pip is there, and now this is a Python software, guys. In this location, interpreter is there. In this location, Python interpreter is there. Python interpreter. Okay, so these are two locations we need to add. Then only your commands going to be executed, guys, using the command prompt. Clear? So whatever I'm showing here, everything you are going to get the screenshots. So screenshot and material, everything you are getting as so whatever the windows I'm opening here, whatever the screens I'm opening, every screen you are going to get. Next, you need to select this one. Next, you need to do this one like this. So if already you added means no problem. If not added, then you are going to add. For that purpose, I'm telling these all things. Why means some people after completing Python also they don't know how installing the Python, how providing the environment variables, these all things. At the time of initial days when you are learning Python, for example, some people not installing their own self, some other friends installing the Python software and environment variables. But after some months, if any problem is coming, uninstalling Python, then again newly unable to installing. Okay, so those kind of situation, those people purpose I'm telling these all things. And Python installation guide also, all the screenshots I'm maintaining. So I'll say to you guys, Python installation every screen and environment variables related every screen, and then installation related. Okay, these all things I'll say to you mail. Got it? Okay, guys. So far enough this one. So tomorrow, practically I will show you. Tomorrow, practically I will show you. This module we installed, Django module. After installing this module, what files coming into our local system, where available, what is the use of that file, and using that file, what we can do, and later projects how creating, applications how creating, like all the basic scenarios we are going to get tomorrow session. Don't miss. Clear, guys? And so
Okay,
as
sir.
soon as possible, you can confirm it's a batch. Then we will discuss practically. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Tomorrow I'll meet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Have a
Yeah.
good day, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Good day. Same to you.